Welcome to this special report from SOBA America TV Network. I am your host, Njuking Assam. On Saturday, November 7th, the Sase Old Boys Association, SOBA, will be electing a new president and leadership team during its General Assembly to be held on campus of St. Joseph's College, Sase. SOBA America TV Network takes a close look at the two candidates for president as the campaign intensifies. Special correspondent Emeritus Mafani Itoy brings you this exclusive special report from Ground Zero in Cameroon, where the campaign fever is heating up the atmosphere.
Welcome to this special coverage of SOBA General Elections. On the 7th of November, SOBAns from across the globe and in Cameroon would converge at Sase College in order to elect the next President General of SOBA, who is going to replace Professor Ephraim Guafo as the new president. We have two leading candidates vying for this important position in our SOBA world. The first is Barrister John Kamani, a renowned lawyer based in Boya. And the second is Mr. Ayuk Iyok, a renowned businessman based in Limbe. These two are going to share with us today their visions for SOBA and what they plan to bring to the table. We're going to start by interviewing Barrister John Kamani. Then we would go to Mr. Ayuk Iyok. Stay tuned and let's see what Barrister John Kamani had to say. Barrister Kamani, what are the key elements of your vision for SOBA General?
Thank you for having me. I would first of all like to introduce myself. I'm Kamani John Sitri. I'm a lawyer by profession, and you all know that I'm a married man with two beautiful daughters. One is also having a master's degree in law from the University of Coventry in the UK. I am a lawyer, and as a lawyer I offer pro bono services. By pro bono we mean free services. And first thing I want to say is that all my services as the President General of SOBA will be free, which means I'll dedicate my time, my effort and my energy to make sure that SOBA moves to a higher step. What are my prospects for SOBA? SOBA will be all-inclusive, SOBA will be more sustainable, and will create projects that will employ younger SOBAns. My vision about SOBA is the harmonious insertion of younger SOBAns into the general SOBA system. It has been so belittling that most young SOBAns find themselves so out of touch because we look at SOBA as something for the old. I'll unite SOBA. I'll make sure that we create projects. For example, the land which was bought by Colonel Balemba, whom I salute his services, we will use that land to build a SOBA hotel. That hotel is a must-do because there's supposed to be a point of meeting of all SOBAns. And it will also create employment for SOBAns who are in both the entertainment and the tourism business. We'll also use that same hotel to build a hall where SOBAns can be organizing their meetings and where you can organize events. I do not like the effect that SOBAns organize meetings in people's houses. Once you have a SOBA home or a SOBA house or a SOBA hotel, there is a point where every SOBAN can meet another one. We'll create an agricultural program. This agricultural program will definitely be in liaison with an agricultural institution in Cameroon, which I have already talked to because I want to hit the tarmac running and I could be judged in the next 6 months. That will create agricultural job for SOBAns. I will also, I'm talking about the 6 months project first. I will do a constitutional review whereby SOBA will not have the lot of bureaucratic red tapes that exist. SOBA should be a federal-run association where the chapters are autonomous with reference and reporting to the central SOBA General. There you cannot have issues coming from east and west without the SOBA General knowing what's happening. Finally, I will make sure that SOBA looks into its brand name. Nobody can use the name of SOBA without us knowing what is trickling into the SOBA coffers. because we need to take advantage of our brand name and make our alumni association a bigger, better, and stronger one.
Thank you. What makes you feel you're the best candidate to be the next President General of SOBA?
First of all, to be president of an association, you must have that zeal, that energy, that enthusiasm, that focus, that direction, and a project for that association. I have a program. I don't want to inherit what is happening today in SOBA. SOBA is unaccountable, is not transparent, the governance is opaque. That is not what I want to do. Today, SOBA is organizing an election, which comes through the intervention, I will call it divine intervention, from the apostolic administrator, because the past executives of SOBA have proven beyond reasonable doubt that they are divisive. You can see it with what happened in the UK. You see what happened in Cameroon. People ask for accountability. You segment them, you dismiss them from SOBA. In fact, of recent, even during our campaigns, one young guy, I don't want to call his name, who endorsed my candidature, was bullied and literally dismissed from a chapter because he supported the view that Kamani is having for the young SOBAns. That is not what it's supposed to be. We will unite SOBA. I am a better candidate because I am not a businessman. Business people talk about profit. They protect their interests. They protect their money. I am a lawyer. I will serve free. We have served people who have been arrested, who do not have money to take care of their legal bills. We call it pro bono. We serve them. So we serve for free. Business people serve for money. The quintessence of business is to make profit. SOBA is not a business. A businessman will transform SOBA to an association to make profit. That is not what we want. And I will definitely be a better candidate because I will work for SOBA free of charge.
Thank you. Can you detail some of your involvement in SOBA over the past 5 years? What would you say Barrister Kamani has contributed to SOBA as a whole to make it better financially and in any other ways?
The first thing to prove that you're a bona fide SOBAN is to make sure that you meet up with all your legal contributions. I have been a bona fide member of the Boy and Mother chapter for 15 years. I'm not going a dime in that chapter in terms of national and chapter dues. Secondly, for more than 8 years, I've been hosting my chapter regularly in November. Why? Because I negotiated that period is my birthday. As an individual, SOBANs have to impact their college. The first time in 2014, 2015, I think that was when Father No was principal of SASE. SASE had 100%. I had to spend more than £1 million first as some kind of a motivation to the teachers by offering them a fridge, which, as I can tell you now, it is at the staff canteen. And I gave financial bonuses to the teachers to motivate them to make sure that they keep the good results that they had at that time. Secondly, parents were entering into SASE College and they didn't have a place to sit when students were there. That was when Father Ndifona was principal of SASE. I raised the sum of 750,000 to build the canteen, which is out of the fence. I will say it viva voce that my effort in making SASE better is what has made SASE to have these particular elections and has made everybody to know that to become president of SOBA, you must be accountable and you must not have an opaque means of governance.
Do you believe in the oneness of SOBA, with different regional chapters ranging from all over, from Nigeria to South Africa to the US to the UK, Ireland? Do you believe that all SOBA regional branches fall under SOBA General?
First of all, no SOBAN went to another school. All SOBANs went to SASE College. So SOBA and SOBANs are one and indivisible. That's the first thing. Secondly, my management of SOBA General will have a federal system. By this I mean all chapters are independent. Independent means you run your chapter, but you are affiliated to the SOBA General, which means all SOBA chapters run their elections, have their bylaws, But the most important thing is that you pay your national dues to the mother body, which is the SOBA General. And only then can you be considered a chapter. It is inadmissible, and it would definitely be inadmissible under my regime, that some chapter come and say that they do not pay reference to SOBA General. The moment you say that, you are not a SOBA. The moment you think in that light, you are not a SOBA. I know that there has been a lot of problems because of the divisive nature of the former regime, where some particular people stand and say that they do not belong to that. When there is an imbroglio in SOBA, the quintessence of leadership is to bring people together. I will unite SOBA, and once SOBA is united, nobody, no SOBA will stand and try to dissociate himself or herself from the mother chapter and the mother body, which is called SOBA General.
Can you kind of detail some of the successes and the major shortcomings of the outgoing administration?
I wouldn't like to delve into that because the cause of an imbroglio is the handiwork of the former regime. But then, in 2013, when I was campaigning to be president of SOBA General, I made a point that we should be self-sustaining, and that if I win that election, I will create a financial institution. I am proud of the creation of SOBA. Very proud, because it is something innovative. It is something that carries the name of SOBA to a greater height. But then, what is the relationship between SOBA and SOBA? I'll look into that. In as much as I appreciate and love the initiative, I do not see what trickles into SOBA. I will look into that, and I make sure that the relationship will be a win-win situation. We need SOBA, gentlemen. We need SOBA. It's something that belongs to all of us. We must protect it. And if we have to protect it, we should make sure that it serves the purpose of which it's created. It serves SOBA, which I believe, if I'm president, all chapters will pay their national dues into an account created at SOBA. But then we must have come out with a modus operandi and a modus vivendi between SOBA and SOBA. I will protect it with my blood because it's a wonderful and a laudable initiative.
You've mentioned some of the disagreements which have happened within the SOBA family, and in some cases, some people find the provisions of the 2018 Constitution, which gives the power to SOBA General to sanction members. Would you in any shape or form ever support the expulsion of members by SOBA General or their chapters from the organization?
Well, the first thing is that there is no 2018 Constitution. A constitution must be adopted. I'm a lawyer, okay? A constitution must be adopted in the General Assembly. There was no General Assembly that adopted that constitution. It was some document printed by a law firm and then adopted by a few members in a meeting in Douala. That cannot be binding on SOBAs. That's why I say and I repeat, within the first 3 months in power, on the 9th even, I will create a constitutional committee. That constitutional committee will be given 3 months to come out with a draft constitution. This draft constitution will be given to all chapters in Cameroon and abroad, and each chapter will have a month to come out with their own proposals. On the 4th month, those proposals will be brought together and then sent back to these chapters on the 5th month for the last reading. And on the 6th month, I will call a Constitutional Review General Assembly to adopt that constitution. There is nothing like a 2018 constitution. Let us not pretend about it. It's some kind of a constitution, some kind of a document printed to suit the whims and caprices of people who want to stay in power ad infinitum. It is inadmissible that somebody belongs to a chapter. He pays his national dues to a chapter. He pays his local dues to a chapter, and the national, the executive of National Bureau sanctions him. Who complained to that executive? They sanction people because of their personal ego. That will never exist under my reign. If a chapter has a problem with a member, the chapter sanctions that member and then forwards the report to the national executive. And if a chapter sanctions a member, the first thing is that the chapter does not receive any dues from that member. And if a chapter member's due does not reach the national executive, it means at the level of the national executive, that member is not a member of SOBA.
Thank you, Barrister John Kamani, and wish you good luck on behalf of SOBA America.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank the entire SOBA America. I want to congratulate the president of SOBA America for his very wonderful victory, and I learned a lot of lessons when I was there to attend that particular process. It was wonderful, it was beautiful, there was a lot of democracy, and I believe very strongly that all SOBAns respect the results of their elections. And I want to give this as a solemn pledge that I, Kamani John Sitri, standing for elections on the 7th of November 2020 in Sasa College, if I lose, I will definitely give my support to the winner. And I pray the reverse will also be true. But I can guarantee you it's a movement. We are going to win, and SOBA will be greater again. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
God bless you.
Fellow Sobans, you've just listened to Barrister John Kamani. Now, let's turn tables and listen to what Mr. Ayuk Iyok has in store for SOBA. Mr. Ayuk Iyok, what are the key elements for your vision for SOBA General?
Good morning. Thank you, SOBA USA. My name is Ayuk Iyok. I'm married with 4 sons in the university in United Kingdom and United States. They are United Kingdom and United States. I'm running for office of President General of SOBA General. My vision for SOBA is just basically 2 things. To enhance the SOBA brand, that is, take the dynamism of the young people, put it together with the experience and wisdom of the elders to develop SOBA, develop ourselves personally, and develop the community in which we live. Secondly, to develop Sasa College. If you go to Sasa College, there's a lot of work to be done on the infrastructure. Secondly, that's what I'll do. Those 2 things I think are the core, to build ourselves and to build Sasa College.
What makes you feel you're the best candidate to be the next president of SOBA General?
Yes, I think I'm the best candidate because 1, I have a track record of things I've done for Sasa College. I have a track record of things I've done for my own personal self in leadership. I've been a member of Junior Chamber Association, Junior Chamber International, which is an association of young people between the ages of 18 and 40. I've been president of Junior Chamber Cameroon, vice president for West Africa, and executive vice president for Africa and the Middle East. In that life, I've been a true and tested leader. In leadership for Sasa College, I've been a leader of our class, and in being a leader of class, we've done a lot of projects, and I've been involved in the 75th anniversary. I was vice chair of the organizing committee. So those are leadership positions I've taken in SOBA and in normal life, which gives me a better pedigree to become a leader of SOBA.
Thank you. That's a good lead into our next question. Can you detail some of your involvement and sacrifices you've done for SOBA over the past 5 years?
We'll start with my class of 79. We did a project in Sasa College where we renovated the whole of St. Kitts, because the then principal, Father Nook, told us that that was the biggest dormitory. So to have the largest impact for student life, which we did to the tune of 6 million francs. I was the lead of that project. Secondly, when we had this, at the peak of this problem of Northwest and Southwest, the civil disobedience, everybody in the executive of PTA for Sasa College ran away. So I was called upon by the school and the bishop, because I was in the executive, to stand in as president of PTA. And in being president of PTA at that time, we had to hold the fort. Even though I didn't have a child in Sasa at that time, I told them, they said, no sir, please, we need you at this time to help for the PTA. Thirdly, we have done, once you are leaving the Downer school to go to the main block, the steepest part of the hill is done with interlocking blocks. We did that with Professor Ngwafo together. We did that so that we should make sure, because there was a situation where a vehicle was going up and it had a problem at the middle of the hill. It tried to brake because it was slippery, it could not brake. So it rolled back and killed a student. So that's why we said, whatever, even we don't have enough money to make the whole road, let us just do that part which is most dangerous. And then, fourthly, when SOBA USA was completing the sick bay project, the Anobangu Health Center project, I was the person who was locally, who they used to send money to pass to the workers there and to visit and see and make sure the workers were doing a good job. Those are a few of the things that I've done, physical sacrifices for SASE College.
Now, do you believe in the oneness of SOBA, given that certain chapters have tried to put up a philosophy of total independence from the main body? What's your vision about how the SOBA structure or SOBA general structure is?
SASE Old Boys Association is an association for all old boys of SASE College. And I believe wherever you are in this world, you belong to that umbrella. So I believe in oneness. Whether you are in SOBA USA or in UK or in New York or in Boya. And I believe in this oneness, that is the only way we can grow. Because as the oneness, we have first the ability to learn from each other. Because as a group, and stronger you learn from each other. Secondly, as this oneness, we will not have that problem which a lot of SOBA have been complaining over the years, that they want to do things for SASE and sometimes it's not receptive. The bishop says my school, but if we are together and strong, whenever we tell a bishop something, we want to do something for SASE College, he will listen because he knows that we are together, is one SOBA and we are stronger. That's why I believe in the oneness of SASE, not only to develop ourselves but to develop SASE College as well.
Can you detail some of the successes of the outgoing administration and any of the shortcomings?
First of all, the successes, a lot of people don't know because maybe it was the manner of the outgoing President General did not shout a lot about his successes. But if you look at, first SOBA had a land in Boya. And the land had been staying there for long. People had encroached and broke part and sell part. The present president and his team made sure they worked and got a land title to that land. Which means that the land now, there's nobody who can interfere with the land because now it is owned by SOBA. He did it for SOBA. Secondly, we have what we call SOBA Trade Union, which is the success of this administration. Although it is a success and a partial failure because it's only in Yaoundé. But what they are doing now is to bring it down to the southwest for other chapters to be members. There are Southwesterners, people from Southwest who are members of SOBA, like myself, but we have to bring it closer to everybody. It is not really a failure, it is a slowness because, because of the socio-political problems here, we could not bring a financial institution at that time. So it takes time. So when people see it taking time, they think that it's a failure, but it's not a failure, it's just that it takes time. Next, the SOBA logo, where it's here on the lapel of our jackets, has been registered with the Africa Intellectual Property Rights Association. So it's owned by SOBA, no other person. It's owned by SOBA. That is what the administration has done, and you know that that administration is headed by a lawyer. So he had to make sure we do that. So now it's owned by SOBA. In another vein, because of the oneness and the dynamism of Professor Nwako, a lot of chapters and classes are going back to SASE to do projects and to do development in SASE College. Then in another vein, we have what we call, in the last constitution, we tried to bring the diaspora closer. Not only the diaspora, but the whole of SOBA to be closer to the SOBA General, where you have vice president in different areas. So let me give you a typical example. Southwest can decide all the chapters have a meeting with their vice president. SOBA UK and Ireland can decide to have a meeting with their vice president. SOBA USA can decide to have a meeting with their vice president. In that way, it brings all of us together, closer. It means we do things with one another from different countries and from different geographical locations, which it will take for us, SOBA General, to do might take about 2 to 3 or 4 years. In this one, they will do it in 1 or 2 years. In that case now, SOBAs from all areas become closer and become one. So we have to work like that to make sure the association is not very far from the normal member, from the individual member.
What would you say to the provisions on the Constitution where a SOBAN can be sanctioned from the organization or suspended or removed? What's your position on this expulsion clause in the SOBA Constitution, given some people were expelled and some people feel was unfair? Do you think that there's certain things someone could do which could warrant expulsion or suspension from SOBA General or from the entire SOBA?
You know, SASE Oba Association is an association of gentlemen and men of noble character. But although most of us are like that, not everybody is like that. So in that situation, you need something that will make sure people don't go out of the line of SOBA or what a SOBA should be. A SOBA should not get up in the morning and we start walking the street to see a SOBA fighting. Or a SOBA will not take the association to court. Things like that. Or a SOBA should not abuse people, like abusing the bishop, abusing your seniors. Those are things that are anti-SOBA. And those anti-SOBA things can be corrected. Expulsion is the last step, if you look at it. You begin by sanctioning by cautioning, and it will be very extreme for somebody to be expelled from SOBA. Because when you start moving and moving, it takes a person who is a donkey not to even know that, to follow the steps to get to expulsion. Expulsion will be the last stage. I believe it should be there to make sure there's order in the association.
Last question. Given that these elections which are being held is going to see the participation of some people who are kind of against SOBA General, and it's obviously going to end with unity in the entire SOBA family, do you pledge to accept the results no matter who wins this election come November 7th?
That's something I should do. Of course, if you are going for any election as a gentleman, as a SOBA, you are going for any election, whether it's SOBA election or any other election, before you go in, you should know that you win or you lose. If you win, you accept. If you lose, you accept. So I pledge that any results that come out, I'll accept. But I know I'll win because I'm the right person to run this organization at this time. Because this organization at this time needs somebody who is cool, quiet, and calculating, and can help everybody come together, who has the patience to listen to everybody. I have that trait. I will listen to everybody. And my solution in every problem is not going to court or shouting or whatever. Is to work together and understand the next person. Because it's only when you understand the next person, that's when you solve the problems of mankind. That's when you solve all the problems and egos we have in SOBA. So we should never ever in our lives think of taking this brand to court or fighting physical fights for this brand. We should make sure this brand is well respected, as we're taught in Sunset to be gentlemen and men of noble character and honesty.
Thank you, Mr. Ayuk, and on behalf of SOBA America, we wish you the very best in the election.
I thank SOBA America for giving me this opportunity. You know that in our association, SOBA America is the best, and everybody likes to be part of a good thing. If I was not in Victoria chapter, I'll register and become a member of SOBA USA. President Bertrand Forte, thank you very much for all the work you have been doing, especially in Sussex College, especially the borehole project and what you did for the scholarship of the student. It was very commendable. Thank you, SOBA USA, and continue your good work. Thank you very much.
Fellow viewers, you've just listened to Mr. Ayuk and his vision for SOBA. We are glad you joined us this weekend on this special broadcast. We are hopeful that all SOBAns in Cameroon would converge in Sasa College on the 7th of November for this historic and competitive elections. It should be noted that all the candidates have visited the Tiko chapter, the Boyo chapter, the Yaoundé chapter, the Douala chapter, and many other chapters in preparation for these elections. We wish them the best on this special day, and thanks very much for joining SOBA America on this special coverage. Reporting from Limbe, Cameroon, on behalf of SOBA America TV, it's Mafani Itwe.